Hi there, welcome to Nighttime Line Talks. Hola amigos, bienvenidos a Charlas de la Noche. Tonight we have a lot of topics to discuss, but the most important one is that almost after 2 months, Wall Street back on business. What a great thing. That means the most important signal that people is ready for recovery and everybody likes to do good things for living. The quarantine, isolation, or however you want to call, is good to stop this pandemic. But this world live of business. Vaccinations are close to be ready according what experts says, and like 5 professional labs from pharmaceuticals nationwide and international are working on it. What that means? Having a vaccination, there is a way to control the coronavirus. And Wall Street coming back on business is important. Mario CUOMO, the New York governor, was the one who take the stage and rang the bell. Was exciting. He makes a lot of thumbs up and signals of America is strong. At the end of this, he only announced that tomorrow he is meeting with President Trump on the White House because he's asking again to President Trump help to New York recovery. As the beginning of the pandemic, he asked help to the president, help to obtain respirators for all hospitals and everything. Now, let's go to see what happened from this important meeting. On the meantime, there are too many things going on. Experts found a video conference online of Chinese authorities. It is made on January 14, days before they announced the problem with the coronavirus. They are top-ranked authorities in China. On January 14, 2020, they were already wearing mouth covers or mouth guards, whatever you want to call. And they deny they were talking about the situation that is affecting everyone. Remember, China was manipulating the situation. The situation don't stop there. Believe it or not, the Great Britain government has to stop China because they want to acquire the most important company that produce microcomponents for computers. Also, they want to buy a similar company in Japan. That is very chilly in the world of business because China wants to have those companies right away. Now, what they want for? They don't give excuse, they don't give an explanation. The sale was canceled. These companies deny to sell their company to China. But many people is observing that Chinese government is investing a lot of money in stock markets of companies whose prices drops tremendously during this pandemic. That is also a risk. Now, the markets are generating a big signal. Some people visualize as a little confidence. Other ones are interpreting this coming back on business as a way to the recovery, and some people is not optimistic, but the world of business is more optimistic, especially because President Trump is enhancing all the measures to control this pandemic. And I believe he is pushing. People who work close to him say President Trump is very pushy and polite. He wants the vaccination as soon as possible. Well, one of the main economical advisors to the White House, Larry Kudlow, he's economic advisor for President Trump, and he is telling about that situation that China is acquiring a lot of stock market, and they are trying to buy important companies all over the world, especially in Hong Kong also. Problems in Hong Kong are coming back. They don't like to be part of China. Remember that Great Britain controls Hong Kong since long time through 1997. In 1997, the contract was over, and then the Chinese troops come to the border and take control of Hong Kong. People from Hong Kong is not happy with that. Let's go to see, but keep eye that situation. Also, Japan. Japan is paying to their own companies for the recovery plan. They don't like Chinese as an investor, as a partner of these companies. Same way is doing United States, England, and other countries are copying this model. But something behind it is happening. Because China offers to Panama build a hospital with all the equipments for intensive care, respirators, etc. And they like to give it free. Nothing is free on this life, my friends. Nothing is free. So something is happening behind it. But authorities are still, they deny the proposal, but they are perplexed about that. So business are coming back, but with a little bit of concern. They are optimistic, but at the same way, they are concerned. Because everything that happens in the world of business, stock markets especially, is affected by the world peace, by the health of the President Trump, by something he says wrong, many things. So it's a special time to advise President Trump, be careful with some tweets, because America is coming back on business, and the politics are coming to the main elections scenario. The Democratic candidate, Joe Sleepy Biden, came out, and he goes to the wall of Vietnam Wall in Washington, and he just stayed there a little bit to catch the attention of the media. He makes a declaration. He was wearing a huge mouth cover, black mouth cover. His wife did the same, and not a big deal. Remember, he pronounced something offensive against African Americans. I'm not going to repeat. When somebody offends somebody, I don't like to repeat that, to don't fall the game, you know. But many African Americans are concerned because Joe Biden, they put a very important point. If Joe Biden, as vice president of the first African American president, Barack Obama, did nothing for the African Americans, do you believe he's doing something now? No. Also, something very important that the African American community is pointing out, that they have better jobs and more opportunities with President Trump than with Barack Obama. And many people in the African American community don't consider Barack Obama as a black president. Remember, his mom was blonde. What happens is the father's blood was more strong and he born like African American, and he's a nice guy. I have nothing against him, but I have to transpire what some African Americans mention on this regard. And Joe Biden is not the perfect candidate to beat Donald Trump, especially on the times after this pandemic. Joe Biden has a great image thanks to President Barack Obama that helped him. And now President Obama is coming back to the political scenario to help Joe Biden. But since Joe Biden was the winner of the primary elections for the Democratic Party, takes time to the former President Barack Obama decide and give his full support to Joe Biden. Some situations are happening behind the scenes, because Biden says, no, I'm going to select as my partner of formula for vice president Amy Klobuchar. Oh, no. You know what? Also, the former candidate to governor, Stacey Abrams, is a good person. Yes, she's a wonderful person. I saw her. But she doesn't have the international credentials to manage situations with foreign countries. It's hard to be on the White House and deal, especially now after China and Russia and other countries are not the same ones. Remember the commercial problems with President Trump. There are a lot of things pending to fix, especially on the world of business. So everything has to be set on the chessboard for both parties, not only the Democratic Party, also for the Republican Party. President Trump already pronounced Mike Pence is again the partner of formula because they coordinate very well together. They are ready to keep going. So, excuse me. Sorry, problem on live TV. And thank you. Somebody in the audience says something. Anyway, but everything, and I am confident, is coming back on track, especially the jobs, especially the healthcare, especially the peace stabilization plans, because China received a lot of accusations, not only from United States and Germany, also from Australia, New Zealand, Great Britain, and these countries were trying to send to China their experts to analyze the problem on the pandemic. They like to go to Wuhan, this considered ground zero, and see the doctors that begin to work with it. Well, according to Chinese media, the doctors disappear. Nobody knows where they are. Chinese government took measures to stop the polemic. I hope they are alive. But China sent their troops to the oceans on Asia for military practice. That's weird. Parallel to it, China also says to Great Britain, New Zealand, and Australia governments that if they keep requesting evidence and documentation about the beginning of this pandemic, they are going to stop the tourism and students' plans that go to spend money on these three countries, and they can send their people to other countries that because their money they are investing, and many people in universities lives from this money. Wow. For your information, Japan needs to have, I believe, 2 million people traveling every year in order to maintain the control on the food distribution and many things. Otherwise, the country is overloaded and they can have a shortage. But also, China fall under the same situation. China also has to apply a plan to keep traveling, I believe, 5 million people to control population because they are too many. So many situations are going on. But the main thing is the world of business is back. The world of business is pumping progress, is pumping opportunity for all. Let's go to see what's happening. But this thirst from China to acquire companies is not only for technology. They also been doing business proposals in Latin America, especially in Mexico. They like the concrete company, Cemex. They like the iron company, Hojalata y Lámina. They like the glass company, Vitro. And they are immersed in a lot of companies, the Cooper company, many companies that they consider strategic. For what? Now, business intelligence is saying that the train plan to build on the in the Istmo of Tehuantepec in Mexico is a zone in the southeast that connects the southwest between Oaxaca and Veracruz. The idea is put a railroad that connects both oceans, but in a railroad, but is going to transport ships, containers, many things from the Pacific through the Gulf of Mexico or Atlantic is the same thing, and vice versa. This is important project. In China is one of the most interested countries on develop this situation. I don't know. Parallel to it, Mexico is building a refinery, an oil treatment plant called Dos Bocas, two mouths. Why? In the Gulf of Mexico. It's interesting, very interesting. Why not renew oil processing plants that are in Salamanca, in Monterrey, in Veracruz, in Tampico Madero, other cities. No way. They like to build a new one. Something is going on. Stay aware. Let's go to keep eye this situation, because as most we know about the 4T, the fourth transformation of Mexico, that is the new government plan to change the world of business and development on the Mexican society, where they also promise fix the social fabric to reduce poverty. I don't know how, because they haven't said in a specific plan to do that. Government of the current president Andrés Manuel López Obrador is creating a lot of polemic. He's not meeting the expectations of people who vote for him, 30 million people. He is not fixing the social problems. He promised a social security plan to help the elders with money to survive, little bit more of $300. Not everyone is receiving. He promised scholarships for young people. They are not happy because they are not receiving this. So many people is questioning, where is he going? The productivity of Mexico is zero since the government of Andrés Manuel López Obrador becomes taking control of the government. And he is more interested on harass business and close beer production plants like he did with Centauro, an American beer brewer company established in the Mexican side in Mexicali, Mexico. He closed the plant without excuses. Also, he is chasing businessmen with the taxes. They must pay taxes and the deadlines are tough. Something is not clear for this president. He has not continuity on the previous plans. He is changing everything he wants to change, and Congress and senators don't review in detail his proposals. He says, let's go to do something, and everybody do something. Everybody agree. Everybody say yes. And that is not the right way to follow on the political normativity in a country that has institutions to process and to analyze every president's decisions that are Congress and senators. There are not headlines of them questioning every situation, everything he says. Sometimes somebody says a little bit. Sometimes the congresswomen come to the podium in the cameral sessions and question the president, but nobody pays attention. Many things are happening, and seems that the Mexican president is doing many things without consider the opinion of the Mexican population. So my editorial partner Plácido Garza, we do together the the radio show Irreverente Charlas de la Noche in Spanish, we are growing a lot because every day we analyze everything Andrés Manuel López Obrador is saying to the Mexican audience. And the huge problem is that Andrés Manuel has a morning show called La Mañanera that has and is plenty of irrelevant things, but he make up with popular slangs and popular words, and he makes fun, and everybody says, oh, okay, he's a great president. Oh, okay, he says about that. But he do not give real proposals. Focus to the challenge and the improvement of the Mexican economy, the Mexican political way, and he promised peace. At the first year he takes the power in Mexico. What peace? Peace is not going on. Mexico has a lot of murder, a lot of kidnap, a lot of violence, and nobody do anything. And he asked for another year. In December 2020 is going to be 2 years since he took the power. And you know what? Every day, drug cartels are killing people. Drug cartels are manipulating. Drug cartels now intimidate the army and any police department because the president seems that he makes a very good deal with the mother of El Chapo Guzman. Yeah. He comes and shakes her hand and says, I got your letter. Don't worry, I'm working on that. We don't know what the letter says. But it's sad. Everything is happening in Mexico. And nobody who is in the leadership of business, nobody who is in the leadership of social groups complain. Newspapers publish stories and journalists are intimidated the day after, and they receive blackmail calls. But nobody is working and trying to help to grow the Mexican public opinion. Mexican public opinion is underground. Nobody respects journalists anymore. And Andrés Manuel López Obrador is trying to play the same game Donald Trump is playing against the journalists. Fake news, this, that, wherever. The problem is that in Mexico, drug dealers take care of journalists. They kill them. Mexico is the country in the world where more journalists are killed. And nobody helps. Become a journalist in Mexico is stay on the line of fire. And Mexico has leadership of murders of people and of journalists. More journalists and more people is being killed than in Iran, Iraq, and Syria combined in the last 2 years. And they are in war. Mexico officially is not in war. So I broadcast this analysis in English because I want that Mexican people who lives in the United States take care of it. People who do business in Mexico, investors, tourists. We love tourism. We love investors. Please help Mexico to grow. Please help Mexico to have more tourism. But at the same time, say to President López Obrador, take off the corruption before he bleed his hands with the money from the drug cartels, because that money is dirty, that money is bad, and if he receives favors and money from drug cartels, he is killing the future of Mexicans. Thank you so much. Good evening.